So you're a coach, fantastic, join the club. It's my biggest passion in life and I'm so glad you can join us here with the mission to try to democratize swim coach education around the world. Now I've been coaching for many years. In fact, I don't know anything other than coaching. It's all I've ever done. It's the only job I've ever had. And I'm really passionate about helping other coaches like yourself learn to actually take their passion and earn a living from it. Coach education is something that's been really important to me, certainly since around about 2010 when British Triathlon asked me to rewrite their coaching curriculum program to help all the coaches within the UK. And it's certainly been something which I've done over the years to try to really get the word out there and to show other coaches that it is possible to earn a good living from your passion and to make sure that you can help reach a wide range of people there. So my tips here for being a coach, and of course you can find out a lot more about this by joining us on one of our coaching courses here by clicking one of the links down below there. So my first tip here is be reliable. Now that might sound a little bit facetious, but here we go. As coaches, we spend our whole lives coaching and timing and recording people's data, but how good is our own time management? So often do we see coaches rocking up on the pool day, rushing in 5 minutes late, 10 minutes late, sorry I forgot to set the alarm. Now, it is so important that you are reliable. I would rate it as the most important thing. In fact, when I started coaching, I remember being on the pool deck and there's a group swimming in one of the other pools close by, and they could see that I was turning up every morning 5-10 minutes before the session, always planned, and their own coach hadn't been turning up reliably enough. And one day I got a phone call and they all asked could they join my program. Now I was a little bit scared by this, simply by I didn't want to be accused of poaching those swimmers from another coach. So I contacted that coach. He told me he was fine with them actually coming to join me. But the point is that my program started on the basis of being reliable, as simple as that. These swimmers knew nothing about the methodology, they knew nothing about what I was doing on a day-to-day basis. They just saw me turning up time after time. And here's a little story for you. I have been late to my swimming sessions over the last 20 years once. And I can remember vividly why that was and when it was. It was when I was buying my new house in 2015. And I slept through my alarm, and the panic that ensued was unbelievable. I turned up onto the pool deck 17 minutes late, and those swimmers who are still swimming with me, the majority are still swimming with me, still don't let me forget that day around about 7 or 8 years ago. But the crazy thing is that the amount of stress that caused, and it just really threw a spanner in the works, it's just simply not worth it. So do what you can, set it as a priority. Now, my second tip for your coaching is to really create and nurture an environment which you feel is really quite positive and supportive for all of your swimmers. It only takes one bad apple to destroy the entire orchard. So sometimes you get those swimmers, clients, whatever you want to call them within the program, who maybe cause a little bit of a stir and create a bit of a ruckus. And that can be really bad for the atmosphere environment for the rest of the program. Don't be afraid, as the saying goes, to fire your worst customer. It feels terrible at the time. I've only had to do it once or twice myself over 20 years, but doing so was the right thing for the whole program. And I encourage you to always make sure that you're actually looking after the greater good of the environment and the squad atmosphere that you're nurturing. Tip number 3 then is the coach wears many hats. Now, I remember doing sports and exercise science at the Bath University in the UK, fantastic facility, and I remember really falling in love with coaching. That's when it really hit me. That's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. In 1997, on a sports and exercise science field trip, the coach told me, the coach who was actually coaching our coach education program that day, said to me, "Newsome, you're going to be a coach." And I was thinking, well, how do you know that? I wanted to be a biomechanist. I wanted to be a physiologist. No, you're going to be a coach. I can see it. I can see that's what you're going to do. I was like, okay, fantastic. I'm going to be a coach. And one of the things that he talked about on that specific day was this idea that the coach wears many hats. And the way he explained this was sometimes you have to be a biomechanist, sometimes you have to be a physiologist, sometimes you have to be a motivator, a psychologist, somebody to keep your swimmers on track. You might need to be a friend, you might need to actually be a shoulder to cry on every now and again. But it's so important that when you wear those hats, you know exactly what your process is to make sure that you're actually looking after the best interests of your swimmers. So please do remember to wear those many hats, and the more you can do to upskill yourself in those areas like psychology, like physiology, like biomechanics, all of those type of things which we'll dig into within our own courses here will all really help you up your game. Now, my final tip number 4 for you coaches out there is to make sure you look after yourself. Now, personally over here, I'm up on the pool deck every single morning at 5:30 a.m, which means I need to be up and about in the morning at 4:30 a.m. Theoretically, I should be hitting the hay at around about 8:30 p.m. every night if I'm trying to get my 7 or 8 hours of sleep, but very rarely does that actually happen. I used to think it was a really naughty thing to come home and actually have a midday snooze or a siesta, but it is really important that you look after yourself. If you can have that little bit of rest time during the middle of the day and get those energy levels down, just get in nice and relaxed to help to bring those energy levels back up again, it's going to help to really look after yourself physically, mentally, emotionally as well. And over the years, it's something which I've paid much more attention to. So when you are wearing these many hats as a coach, don't be surprised if you feel like your energy levels are really sapped when you've had a busy morning on pool deck and you've had lots of questions from people. Give yourself a little bit of me time, bring those energy levels down in order to actually bring them up a little bit later on the day. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to check out some of the courses that we provide for coaches and coach education right here at Swimming Common. Thanks for joining us.